Introduction: Money and Human Behavior. Money is often perceived as a purely rational entity. People earn it, spend it, and save it based on logical choices. However, Morgan Housel's The Psychology of Money flips this narrative on its head by exploring the profound influence of psychology on how people think about, interact with, and manage money. The book is a deep dive into the emotional and behavioral drivers that underpin financial decisions, revealing that these drivers are often more powerful than raw logic or financial expertise. Housel uses a blend of personal anecdotes, historical case studies, and economic research to underscore his key point: money management is not just about what you know, it's about how you behave. And because behavior is influenced by a myriad of factors, including upbringing, life experiences, biases, and emotions, people often make decisions that may seem irrational on the surface but make perfect sense given their personal circumstances. Through this lens, Housel attempts to provide a holistic understanding of how people can improve their financial lives, not by becoming more knowledgeable, but by becoming more aware of their own psychological tendencies. In doing so, he presents a powerful argument for why money management is more about emotional intelligence than technical know-how. Chapter 1: No One's Crazy, The Personal Nature of Money Decisions. The first chapter sets the stage for the rest of the book by driving home the idea that when it comes to money, no one is crazy. Housel explains that everyone's approach to money is deeply personal, shaped by their individual experiences, background, and upbringing. What might seem like an irrational financial decision to one person could be perfectly logical to another, given the different life experiences they've had. Housel uses a poignant example: a person who grew up during the Great Depression is likely to have an entirely different relationship with money than someone who grew up in the tech boom of the 1990s. The former may be extremely conservative, prioritizing savings and avoiding risks, while the latter may be more inclined to take financial gambles, having seen firsthand the rewards of speculative investments. Neither is crazy, they're simply operating based on their respective realities. This concept is critical to understanding why people make the financial choices they do. For instance, someone raised in a financially unstable household may be more risk-averse, while another who experienced prosperity might be more comfortable with high-risk investments. By appreciating these nuances, readers can develop a deeper empathy for others' financial behaviors and, more importantly, gain insight into their own money decisions. The key lesson here is that financial choices are as much about personal history as they are about spreadsheets and financial advice. Understanding one's own experiences with money, and how they shape behaviors, can help build better financial habits. Chapter 2: Luck and Risk, The Role of Serendipity and Uncertainty. One of the most compelling arguments Housel makes is that luck and risk play outsized roles in financial outcomes, often more so than skill or intelligence. He presents the case that wealth accumulation is not always the result of hard work, and failure is not always the consequence of laziness or poor choices. Instead, the world of finance is heavily influenced by forces beyond individual control, such as timing, economic conditions, and even sheer randomness. Housel presents the example of Bill Gates, who, while undeniably brilliant, was also extraordinarily lucky. Gates attended one of the only high schools in the world that had a computer, giving him early access to the skills that would later define his career. Housel contrasts this with the story of a similarly talented person who didn't achieve the same level of success simply because they lacked the same serendipitous access to technology. The chapter also touches on the fallacy of hindsight bias, where people look at successful individuals and assume that their path to success was clear and replicable. In reality, many of these people were beneficiaries of circumstances that couldn't have been predicted or controlled. Housel's point is not to undermine hard work or talent but to recognize that they are only part of the equation. The rest is luck. Risk, on the other hand, is the darker twin of luck. While luck can catapult someone to success, risk can just as easily tear it all away. Housel argues that the biggest financial mistakes often stem from underestimating risk or overestimating control over future outcomes. The 2008 financial crisis is a prime example of this. Many intelligent, well-educated people believed that housing prices would continue to rise indefinitely, only to see the entire market collapse. The lesson from this chapter is twofold: first, to be humble in the face of success, recognizing that luck likely played a role, and second, to be cautious when taking risks, acknowledging that the future is unpredictable. By balancing luck and risk, one can make more informed and emotionally grounded financial decisions. Chapter 3, Never Enough, The Elusive Chase for More. The third chapter of The Psychology of Money tackles a universal struggle, the idea of enough. Housel describes how even the wealthiest individuals can fall into the trap of always wanting more, often to their own detriment. He tells the story of Rajat Gupta, a man who rose from poverty in India to become a prominent CEO and board member of major companies like Goldman Sachs. Despite his wealth and success, Gupta risked everything by engaging in insider trading, seeking even more riches and power, only to be caught and imprisoned. This cautionary tale serves as a reminder that the constant pursuit of more wealth can lead people to take unnecessary risks. Housel emphasizes the importance of defining what enough means for each individual. For some, it might mean having a comfortable home, financial security, and the freedom to pursue passions. For others, it might mean reaching a specific savings goal or retirement fund. The point is to recognize when you've reached that point, rather than continually chasing more without a clear reason. The chapter explores the dangers of envy and comparison. In a world where people are constantly exposed to the lifestyles of the rich and famous, it's easy to feel like what you have isn't enough. However, this comparison can be toxic and lead to financial decisions that prioritize status over substance. Housel argues that true financial success isn't about accumulating as much money as possible, but about achieving the financial security and lifestyle that aligns with your personal values and needs. The most important wealth is the kind that provides peace of mind, rather than a never-ending desire for more. Chapter 4, Confounding Compounding, The Exponential Power of Growth. One of the most significant themes in Housel's book is the immense power of compounding. He dedicates an entire chapter to explaining why compounding is such a powerful yet underappreciated force in both finance and life. The concept of compounding is simple: small, consistent gains over time lead to massive results. This applies to both financial investments and personal habits. Housel uses the example of Warren Buffett to illustrate the power of compounding. Buffett is often lauded as one of the greatest investors of all time, but Housel points out that his wealth is largely due to the fact that he started investing at a very young age and continued to do so for over 70 years. The length of time allowed his wealth to grow exponentially, far more than any single brilliant investment. Compounding, Housel argues, is like a snowball rolling down a hill. It starts small, but as it picks up speed and gathers more snow, it grows larger and larger. This is why time is the most important factor in building wealth. The earlier you start, the more time you give your investments to grow. The longer you stay invested, the more powerful compounding becomes. However, compounding isn't limited to money. Housel suggests that the same principle applies to personal growth, relationships, learning, and career development. Small, incremental improvements over time can lead to extraordinary outcomes, whether it's mastering a skill, building strong relationships, or achieving career success. Despite its power, compounding is often overlooked because its effects are not immediate. People tend to focus on short-term gains or losses, missing the bigger picture of long-term growth. Housel emphasizes the importance of patience and long-term thinking when it comes to building wealth or achieving any significant life goal. Chapter 5, Getting Wealthy versus Staying Wealthy, The Two Different Skill Sets. One of the most insightful chapters in the book explores the distinction between getting wealthy and staying wealthy. Housel argues that the skills required to achieve financial success are not the same as those needed to maintain it. In fact, they can often be at odds with each other. To get wealthy, Housel explains, one must take risks, seize opportunities, and be willing to embrace uncertainty. Many people who have accumulated significant wealth did so by making bold investments, starting businesses, or taking advantage of market trends. However, once wealth is achieved, the focus must shift from taking risks to preserving that wealth. Staying wealthy requires a different mindset, one that prioritizes caution, risk management, and humility. Housel shares examples of individuals who achieved great wealth only to lose it all by taking unnecessary risks. He cites the example of tech entrepreneur Jody Fisher, who went from billionaire to broke due to bad investments and lavish spending. The key takeaway from this chapter is the importance of playing defense with your wealth once you've achieved it. This means avoiding risky ventures, being conservative with investments, and planning for worst-case scenarios. Housel likens wealth preservation to survival. It's not about maximizing gains, but about avoiding catastrophic losses. One of the most powerful lessons in this chapter is the importance of humility. Many people, after achieving financial success, begin to believe that they're invincible, that their skills and decisions will continue to lead to success. However, this mindset often leads to overconfidence and excessive risk-taking. Housel encourages readers to remain humble and cautious, recognizing that even the most successful people can lose everything if they're not careful. Chapter 6, Tails, You Win, The Power of Extreme Outcomes. In finance, extreme outcomes, or tail events, can have a disproportionate impact on overall results. This concept is the focus of Chapter 6, where Housel explains why embracing these tail events can be crucial for financial success. Housel introduces the concept of a power law, where a small number of events or investments account for the majority of results. In other words, while most investments may produce average returns, a few outliers can generate extraordinary gains that far outweigh the losses or mediocrity of the others. These outliers, or tail events, are what drive the majority of wealth creation in the stock market. Housel uses historical examples to illustrate this point. He explains how companies like Apple and Amazon became the dominant players in their industries, generating massive returns for early investors. These companies were tail events, extreme successes that significantly outperformed the rest of the market. The lesson here is that not every investment will be a winner, and that's okay. The key is to position yourself to benefit from tail events when they do occur. This means diversifying your investments, being patient, and recognizing that you only need a few big wins to achieve significant financial success. Housel also expands this concept beyond finance, arguing that tail events play a role in many aspects of life. Whether in careers, relationships, or personal development, a small number of pivotal moments can have an outsized impact on overall success. By embracing uncertainty and positioning oneself to capitalize on rare opportunities, people can improve their chances of benefiting from these extreme outcomes. Chapter 7, Freedom, the Ultimate Goal of Wealth. Housel argues that the ultimate purpose of wealth is freedom, particularly the freedom to control one's time. In this chapter, he explores the idea that true wealth isn't measured by material possessions, but by the ability to make choices without being constrained by financial concerns. For many people, the pursuit of wealth is about buying more things, houses, cars, clothes, but Housel suggests that the real value of money lies in the freedom it provides. Financial independence allows people to choose how they spend their time, whether that means retiring early, pursuing hobbies, or simply reducing the stress of daily life. Housel shares personal stories of individuals who have accumulated significant wealth but are still trapped in unfulfilling jobs or stressful situations because they feel they don't have enough. In contrast, he presents examples of people who live modestly but have achieved financial independence and, as a result, have the freedom to spend their time however they choose. The key lesson here is that wealth should be seen as a tool for gaining control over your life, rather than as an end in itself. Housel encourages readers to think about what they truly value and to use their financial resources to create a life that aligns with those values. This chapter also touches on the concept of time affluence, or the idea that having control over your time is one of the greatest luxuries in life. People who have achieved financial independence often describe the freedom to spend their days as they wish as more valuable than any material possession. Housel urges readers to prioritize this kind of freedom in their financial planning. Chapter 8, Man in the Car Paradox, The Pursuit of Status. The Man in the Car Paradox is one of the more philosophical chapters in Housel's book, exploring the human desire for status and admiration. Housel argues that many people spend money on luxury goods, such as expensive cars, designer clothes, and lavish homes, not for their own enjoyment, but to impress others. However, Housel points out a paradox: when people see someone driving a fancy car, they don't admire the person, they admire the car itself. The man driving the car is invisible to them. This paradox underscores the futility of spending money to gain status or approval from others. In most cases, people aren't paying attention to you, they're focused on the object you're flaunting. This insight leads to a broader discussion about the dangers of tying self-worth to material possessions. Housel argues that true wealth and happiness come from within, not from external validation. People who constantly seek approval from others through their spending habits often find themselves trapped in a cycle of dissatisfaction. The lesson here is to be mindful of why you're spending money. Are you buying something because it brings you joy and aligns with your values, or because you want to impress others? By focusing on what truly matters to you, rather than seeking external validation, you can make financial decisions that lead to greater fulfillment and happiness. Chapter 9, Wealth is What You Don't See, The Hidden Power of Saving. In this chapter, Housel challenges the common misconception that wealth is about outward displays of money, luxury cars, big houses, expensive vacations. Instead, he argues that true wealth is what you don't see, it's the money saved and invested that isn't immediately visible. Housel explains that people often assume someone with a high-income lifestyle is wealthy, but in reality, wealth is the money that's not spent. It's the financial security, freedom, and peace of mind that comes from having a reserve of savings and investments. This hidden wealth is what allows people to weather financial storms, take advantage of opportunities, and live without the stress of paycheck-to-paycheck existence. The chapter emphasizes the importance of saving, not just for specific goals like buying a house or retiring, but for the unpredictability of life itself. Housel shares personal stories of how his own savings have provided him with options and security in times of uncertainty. He argues that the ability to save is one of the most powerful tools for achieving financial independence. Housel also touches on the psychological aspect of saving. Many people struggle to save because they equate spending with happiness or status. However, he argues that the most important aspect of wealth is the ability to control your time and make choices that align with your values. By reframing saving as a means of gaining freedom and security, rather than as a sacrifice, people can develop healthier financial habits. Chapter 10, Save Money, The Foundation of Financial Success. Building on the previous chapter, Housel devotes Chapter 10 to the simple yet powerful act of saving money. He argues that saving is the most straightforward way to achieve financial independence, yet it's often overlooked in favor of more complex financial strategies like investing or entrepreneurship. Housel explains that while earning more money is certainly helpful, it's not the key to wealth. In fact, many high earners still struggle financially because they don't save enough. The true path to financial freedom is through consistent saving, regardless of income level. The chapter offers practical advice on how to develop a habit of saving, such as automating savings, living below your means, and avoiding lifestyle inflation. Housel also emphasizes the importance of saving for the unexpected. Life is unpredictable, and having a financial cushion can provide peace of mind and flexibility when things don't go according to plan. One of the most powerful lessons in this chapter is that saving isn't just about reaching specific financial goals, but about creating a safety net for the future. Whether it's an emergency fund, a retirement account, or simply a buffer for unexpected expenses, saving money provides options and security in an uncertain world. Chapter 11, Reasonable Rational, The Importance of Emotional Comfort in Financial Decisions. In Chapter 11, Housel explores the difference between making reasonable financial decisions and making perfectly rational ones. While rational decisions are based on pure logic and numbers, reasonable decisions take into account emotions, personal preferences, and life circumstances. Housel argues that striving for perfect rationality in financial decisions can lead to stress and dissatisfaction. For example, it may be rational to invest aggressively when you're young, but if the volatility of the stock market keeps you up at night, it's not a reasonable decision for you. In this case, it's more important to make a decision that allows you to sleep well and feel comfortable with your financial choices. This chapter emphasizes the importance of emotional well-being in financial planning. While it's important to understand the logic behind financial decisions, it's equally important to recognize your own emotional limits and preferences. Personal finance is deeply personal, and what works for one person may not work for another. Housel encourages readers to find a balance between rational financial planning and emotional comfort. By making decisions that are reasonable for your own circumstances and emotional state, you can achieve both financial success and peace of mind. Chapter 12, Surprise. Embracing uncertainty in financial planning. One of the central themes of The Psychology of Money is the unpredictability of the future. In Chapter 12, Housel dives deeper into this idea, explaining that life is full of surprises, both good and bad, and that financial plans should reflect this uncertainty. Many people make the mistake of assuming that the future will unfold in a linear, predictable way. They create financial plans based on assumptions about their income, expenses, and investment returns, only to be caught off guard when things don't go as planned. Housel encourages readers to build flexibility into their financial plans by preparing for a wide range of possible outcomes. This means having an emergency fund, diversifying investments, and being open to adjusting plans as circumstances change. By embracing uncertainty and planning for the unexpected, you can reduce the stress and anxiety that often come with financial uncertainty. The chapter also emphasizes the importance of humility in financial planning. No one can predict the future with certainty, so it's essential to remain adaptable and resilient in the face of unexpected events. Housel argues that the most successful financial planners are those who are willing to adjust their strategies as new information becomes available, rather than sticking rigidly to a plan that may no longer be relevant. Chapter 13, Room for Error, the Importance of Margin of Safety. In Chapter 13, Housel expands on the idea of uncertainty by introducing the concept of margin of safety. He explains that it's crucial to leave room for error in financial planning, as things often don't go according to plan. This could mean saving more than you think you'll need, investing conservatively, or having backup plans in case things go wrong. The margin of safety is a buffer that allows you to absorb unexpected shocks, whether it's a sudden job loss, a market downturn, or an unexpected expense, without derailing your financial goals. Housel argues that one of the biggest mistakes people make is planning for the best-case scenario, rather than preparing for worst-case possibilities. He uses the example of homebuyers who stretch their budget to the maximum to afford a house, only to find themselves in financial trouble when unexpected expenses arise. By leaving room for error, such as buying a less expensive home or saving a larger down payment, people can protect themselves from the financial stress that comes with unanticipated events. The lesson from this chapter is clear: financial success isn't just about making the right moves, but about avoiding catastrophic mistakes. By building a margin of safety into your financial decisions, you can protect yourself from the inevitable surprises that life throws your way. Chapter 14, You'll Change, the Evolution of Financial Goals. In this chapter, Housel touches on a topic that's often overlooked in personal finance: the fact that people's goals, values, and desires change over time. What you want today may not be what you want in 5, 10, or 20 years. This means that financial plans should be flexible enough to evolve as your life circumstances and priorities shift. Housel encourages readers to embrace the uncertainty of future desires and to avoid locking themselves into rigid financial plans that don't allow for flexibility. For example, you might save for retirement with the intention of traveling the world, only to find that you'd rather spend your time volunteering or pursuing a hobby. The key lesson here is that it's okay to change your mind about your financial goals. Life is unpredictable, and your priorities will evolve as you grow older and experience new things. By being open to adjusting your financial strategies, you can ensure that your money is working for you in ways that align with your current values and desires. This chapter also touches on the importance of regular financial check-ins. Housel recommends revisiting your financial goals and plans on a regular basis, whether annually or every few years, to ensure that they still align with your current situation and aspirations. By staying flexible and adaptable, you can avoid the frustration and disappointment that comes from rigidly adhering to outdated goals. Chapter 15, Nothing's Free, The Hidden Cost of Financial Success. Housel argues that everything in life, including financial success, comes with a price. The problem is that the price isn't always obvious. In finance, the price of success is often volatility, uncertainty, and long periods of little progress. In this chapter, Housel explains that the price of investing is the emotional discomfort that comes with watching the value of your investments fluctuate. Many people are unwilling to pay this price, which is why they struggle to achieve long-term financial success. They sell their investments during downturns, avoid risk altogether, or chase short-term gains at the expense of long-term growth. The chapter emphasizes the importance of recognizing and accepting these hidden costs. Housel argues that understanding the true cost of financial success, and being willing to pay it, is key to achieving long-term goals. This might mean enduring periods of uncertainty, resisting the temptation to sell during market declines, or staying patient during times of little financial progress. Housel also touches on the concept of delayed gratification, explaining that many people give up on long-term financial strategies because they can't tolerate the short-term discomfort. However, those who are willing to endure the emotional ups and downs of investing are often rewarded with significant long-term gains. Chapter 16, You and Me, The Personal Nature of Financial Decisions. In this chapter, Housel reiterates one of the central themes of the book: personal finance is deeply personal. What works for one person may not work for another, and that's okay. Housel explains that people have different risk tolerances, time horizons, and financial goals, which means that there's no one-size-fits-all approach to money. For example, some people may be comfortable investing heavily in stocks, while others prefer the safety of bonds. Some may prioritize saving for a house, while others focus on retirement. The key is to understand your own preferences and to make financial decisions that align with your personal values and goals. Housel encourages readers to focus on their own financial journey, rather than comparing themselves to others. It's easy to feel inadequate when you see someone else achieving financial success, but Housel reminds readers that everyone's situation is different. By understanding your own needs and preferences, you can make decisions that are right for you, even if they don't align with conventional wisdom or what others are doing. This chapter also touches on the importance of self-awareness in financial decision-making. Housel suggests that by understanding your own emotional triggers, biases, and tendencies, you can make better financial decisions that lead to long-term success and fulfillment. Chapter 17, The Seduction of Pessimism, Why Negative News Dominates. Housel explores why pessimism is often more persuasive than optimism, especially in the media. Negative news tends to get more attention because people are wired to respond to threats and risks. This psychological tendency, known as negativity bias, makes it easy for people to focus on short-term problems and crises, even when the long-term outlook is positive. The chapter highlights how this bias can lead to poor financial decisions. For example, many investors sell their stocks during market downturns because they're influenced by negative news headlines and fear of further losses. However, Housel argues that a long-term perspective is crucial for financial success. While the short term may be volatile, the overall trajectory of markets, and human progress, is upward. Housel encourages readers to adopt a more optimistic outlook, focusing on the long-term potential for growth and progress. He explains that while setbacks and downturns are inevitable, they are usually temporary. By maintaining a long-term perspective and resisting the temptation to react to short-term negativity, people can avoid making decisions that undermine their financial goals. This chapter also touches on the importance of filtering out noise and focusing on what truly matters. In a world where people are constantly bombarded with news and information, it's easy to get caught up in the latest headlines or market movements. Housel suggests that by tuning out the noise and focusing on your long-term goals, you can stay on track and avoid being swayed by short-term pessimism. Chapter 18, When You'll Believe Anything, The Dangers of Financial Myths and Misinformation. In the final chapter of the book, Housel addresses the prevalence of financial myths, get-rich-quick schemes, and conspiracy theories. He explains that people are often drawn to simple explanations for complex problems, especially when those explanations promise easy solutions to financial challenges. Housel warns against blindly accepting financial advice or following trends without doing your own research. He shares stories of people who lost money by investing in scams, following bad advice, or chasing trends without understanding the underlying risks. The key to avoiding these pitfalls, Housel argues, is critical thinking and a healthy dose of skepticism. The chapter emphasizes the importance of making financial decisions based on evidence and research, rather than emotion or hype. Housel encourages readers to question the sources of their financial information and to avoid being swayed by promises of easy money or quick success. One of the most powerful lessons in this chapter is that financial success requires patience, discipline, and a willingness to do the hard work of learning and growing. There are no shortcuts or magic formulas for building wealth, just a series of smart, informed decisions made over time. Conclusion: The Psychology of Money. In the final analysis, The Psychology of Money is a book about much more than money. It's about understanding human nature and using that understanding to make better decisions in life. Housel's central argument is that financial success is not about intelligence or knowledge, but about behavior. By understanding your own psychology and the emotional drivers behind your financial decisions, you can achieve long-term success and financial independence. Housel's book is a call to rethink the way we approach money. Rather than focusing on accumulating more wealth, he encourages readers to focus on achieving financial security, freedom, and peace of mind. The key to this, he argues, is not technical expertise, but self-awareness, patience, and humility. Through personal stories, historical examples, and psychological insights, Housel paints a vivid picture of the complex relationship between money and human behavior. His message is both simple and profound. The way you think about money will determine your financial success. By mastering your own psychology, you can achieve the financial freedom and security that so many people seek.